Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about the importance of knowing if you are highly empathetic, and just where you are at on the empathetic scale. Because I look at everything as a scale and not just an all or nothing kind of thing. And to be honest, the way this flow is set up out here right now, like the beings that are really high on the empathetic scale are really the ones that we need all about in the forefront to help create this shift, so that way we can get back to flowing naturally and not having so much strain and restrictions put on us, you know what I'm saying? So, and I know that's something that people talk about, as far as when they talk about dealing with the narcissist and like the demons and all these other things, like saying that they have no empathy, lack of empathy. They are definitely not empathetic, but I would agree with some of the statements that have been thrown out there with they are extremely low on empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes to really be able to feel what they are trying to say to you, or be able to feel what they are going through, and for some of us who are super highly empathetic, in a lot of ways you could tell if you highly empathetic. And for me, I had to look back at the signs from when I was young, growing up, just how I was always told like I was like too emotional. I was like an emotional child, or just highly sensitive, hypersensitive, meaning that anytime it was some witchy shit going on, like I could feel it, I would be able to sense it, I could tell, and I would react accordingly. But then I also, if it's not witchy shit, I can vibe with you extremely well on a whole nother level, because I can get into your space spiritually. And I know it's a lot of other beings out here that's the same way as well too, but when you growing up in this matrix as a highly hypersensitive being, this shit is designed to take away all feeling. So it's designed to make you feel like an oddball, to minimize your empathy, and to minimize your sensitivity. It took me a long while, like just constantly battling, like if you don't have a teacher there or somebody there to explain these things to you, like these are things that you won't be aware of or really know what's going on until you get into like your 20s, or I just say 20s because that's usually when people really start diving into their own information. 30s, clearly, of course, but usually teens, preteens, anything before, those aren't the areas we lean towards. It is beings that do it, but that's not the areas we lean towards. But in a Western society where we taught to not feel, the people who are highly empathetic on the scale will be able to teach the ones around them how to feel again, how to stop neglecting and pushing away all sensitivities, how to turn your sensory back on, even if you don't understand it, like even the practice of it spiritually and the motion of your body physically going through it is going to program you to have, one, a better response reaction time, and two, it subtly teaches your spirit, okay, this is how if I didn't know how, this is how I am supposed to express myself. This is how, I'm supposed to feel for what somebody else may going through. We all can kind of empathize to a certain degree. When you see like an old person walking across the street, you try to help them, or a pregnant lady just needs some assistance, but you see her struggling to do it herself or whatever. But just like on a bigger scale, just like if somebody calls you, and 9 out of y'all 10 calls is usually them very high spirit and like always giving a lot of life and energy and just everything that vibrates to pick your spirit up. And then that 1 out of them 10 times, they call you and their energy isn't the same. As another individual on the other end of the spectrum, if I'm the other person on the other end of the spectrum, I'm going to literally be asking and prying questions and jumping into their spirit world myself to be able to feel what they're going through, so I can perceive things how they are perceiving, so that way I can give them the right emotional response that they need. You know, it's pretty in depth, but as far as like just trying to break it down to a simplified form to where everyone can understand it, for the ones that have a harder time grasping it. But the empathy and being empathetic and highly hypersensitive is damn near a superpower out here now, you know? And I believe, like, for a good portion, you know, a high percentage of us have access to a lot of these things. Whether we access them or not is usually on us. But I also know that we are born into this realm with our own different abilities too, you know? So it's always a combination. But what happens is they have people so focused on everything that's not in their vicinity. So people in the Western world is posting, talking about UK, which is good. The UK needs help. But the Western world where we're at, okay, it should be nobody in Virginia posting, talking about none of that shit, because we're fucked up in Virginia, okay? So you're supposed to get your area straight first. So instead of me saying, okay, let me focus my energy over there, no, I won't focus it over there, but I'll send them some energy in the spirit world. But the bulk in the who needs the most of my energy is what's around me. The friends and the peers that I do have around, and the people that I don't know that want to make a shift. And the ones who don't want to make a shift, you're still going to get impacted by it as well too. You know what I'm saying? So we have to start reaching for more obtainable goals and things that's more reachable. I feel like a lot of people reach far out because they feel as if they cannot make an impact in their environment or in their space. You know what I'm saying? When that's false. That's false. You changing your thoughts and your perspective and the way you travel is already making and creating a huge shift already. You know, you just choose to make the impact somewhere else where other people may feel it, but the ones around you are still not feeling the impact and shift, and still have a bunch of shit that they're going through and got on the table, you know? But being highly empathetic is a superpower out here right now. And the more and more people that are highly hypersensitive, you know, if we can get them engaged and active, you know, it don't have to be out in the forefront, but just engaged and active as far as in their space, trying to set up ways to teach people and to show people how to feel again. It's not going to work with everybody. I just be very fucking clear now, because it's a spiritual war, so a lot of people already opted out over to the opposition, and a lot of people are already sheep just following along with the flow. But the thing is with that, you never, like, what I always like to say, and I always remembered in my own spirit world, is like, you never know what you say that will stick to somebody. So anytime I was young and I used to run into people or have conversations, I would remember certain things that they didn't remember about the conversation, and vice versa. They would remember certain things that I wouldn't remember. And it was just like, damn, I didn't think that you would remember that piece of what I said. But that's good that you remember any of it, but I wasn't thinking that piece. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what is going to be the actual verbiage or action that's going to create that shift in this other being beside you. You know what I'm saying? Them bumping into you could be all the battle they needed to kind of be like, all right, damn, I didn't know what I needed to create this shift. Now when I ran into this wall, boom, and I'm still fighting the resistance. But now their resistance for the next few years, next few months, next few weeks is going to be a lot harder, because remember, we are the checkpoints as well too. You know what I'm saying? We are growing, warring, ascending, creating shifts. We doing all of this, but we also are other beings' checkpoints. We're your checkpoints. So wherever you at in life, you know, this is a checkpoint. You have no choice but to reflect on everything in the past, in the future, and in the present right now, what's going on in front of you right now. You know what I'm saying? But being highly empathetic, they're going to use us as well too. because we fight like nobody else fights in the spiritual world. We don't give up. We don't tap out. We don't do none of the above. And what happens is we just get pushed too far to the brinks to where we already spiritually know it's time for us to get the fuck away, remove ourselves, or to fight. You know what I'm saying? But we always gonna have the hardest battles because it's harder for us to, like, the opposition can turn their sensitivity down because it's already low to, let's say their sensitivity is turned down to like 5%. You know, we could have access to all of it, but we cannot turn our shit off. We cannot turn it off. There's no turn. We cannot even turn it down to 5%. I would say like 15 to 20% is about as low as I've been able to turn my shit down to, and that's pretty fucking low. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to keep my shit up there. I want to feel. I want to be able to taste my food. I want to be able to feel what I'm touching. I like engaging with the 3D world. I understand this witchy shit that I'm in the mix with, but I'm here for a reason, you know? So I'm not going to make it seem like I'm in some kind of prison. No, this is not a prison, you know? This is life. This is a part of the journey. And they making the highly empathetic beings and the highly hypersensitive ones pay for being highly empathetic and highly hypersensitive. You know what I'm saying? And the war is not going to stop, so you're going to have to take them blows on the chin. But what you can do is you can structure different precaution steps for you to take while you're going through the battle and in that process. You know what I'm saying? So for me, once I got to that space and understood that this is me, I'm highly hypersensitive. I feel everything. I don't want to turn it off. I didn't even want to turn it off even when I went to prison. Like, I did not want to turn it off. Like, and then I have to realize, like, yo, this is just me. I don't want to shun my shit or turn it down, because this is how I navigate in the spiritual realm. This is how I'm able to engage with certain entities and beings. This is how I fucking know which locations I want to vibe around into. Like, I don't want to turn my shit off. You know, I'll turn it down when I'm in a room full of vultures, but other than that, like, nah, we're not turning it off. You know what I'm saying? We just being aware that, you know, you do, if you highly empathetic and hypersensitive, you bumped up on the food chain, so now you look like a delicious meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a bear seeing a salmon fish dipped in honey. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we become. So as we out here walking around, they just like, you look delicious. Not the physical part, but your energy. They want every piece of it. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't want to run it up too long. You know what I'm saying? We at a heavy spiritual war, and we need to stay prepared at all times. You know what I'm saying? Tap into everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.